Each week, we welcome to our NfG stage one of our highly talented members or special guests with something designed to help you and your business. And our next guest started life as a percussionist with a group called Mother Hen. But despite their binary beats gaining them a niche following across the UK, Northern Europe, and France, their rock and roll lifestyle didn't alter them at all, mainly because they didn't lay any golden eggs. But instead, working with a range of different well-known companies, our speaker helped their computing systems to talk to one another. And as a Cisco engineer, he worked in a binary language of the universe, the ones and zeros, for the configuration of the routers and switches that make up the core of the internet. And in the early 2000s, he switched to help sell the dream of global interconnectivity through technology, gaining a range of sales skills, even becoming a sales trainer himself, turning sales into an art form while resulting in the binary answer of to sell or not to sell. But today, that's not the question. Refining these sales skills in a wide variety of environments, he's perhaps identified one of the most missing skills, the ability to sell ourselves, which few of us are truly good at while still remaining humble and relatable. And not a black and white binary skill, he explored the color purple with a recognition of the many hats we wear in our daily lives as business owners. And with a passion for LinkedIn and the behind the scenes wizardry that powers this professional social network, we've got an inside peek here today behind the curtain where we welcome Gareth Wax. Good morning, Gareth.
Good. Well, thank you very much. Did you get all that from ChatGPT or was that you?
No ChatGPT involved.
Well, wow. I was actually getting interested there. Who is this fellow? All right. Hi, guys. How are you? All right. My role here is to make you sit up and take notice. And more importantly, I'd like to promise you at least 3, count them, light bulb moments before, thank you, before the end of this little sesh. Is that okay? Okay, so if you don't get them, then ask for a refund. Now, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to talk to you about something that you may or may not know about, which can make a absolute positive difference with the way you're perceived on LinkedIn. I don't mean just turning up and turning it on. I mean, literally, there are other benefits too. So has everybody heard of creator mode? Yes, various nodding of heads. That's always a good thing. Actually, when you do that, it looks like we're part of a cult. So, you know, I think we need cowls and candles and maybe a crucifix upside down, something like that. Yeah, that's it. There you go. So, creator mode. Does anybody know what it's for? Can they tell me? Oh, sorry. All right. So, creator mode is put together by LinkedIn when they gave up fighting against people trying to use its job-based platform in a perverse manner. Basically, a year and a half ago, it first was aired, and it's become pretty much de rigueur ever since. Only 26% of the whole entirety of LinkedIn is in fact on creator mode. So it can make a positive difference just by using it, because there you go, you see? Now, when you switch it on, and I'll talk all about that in a second, it turns on at least 5 different facilities that otherwise aren't easily available. And we'll talk about some of them, the most important ones now, plus one that people never completely disregard, and I think is very important. So I'm going to share my screen and look at my own profile. Not really for any self-aggrandizement, but I thought what we'd do is, if we could see that, then I can jump through it very rapidly. There we go. Now look in my own profile. If anybody wants to find me, by the way, I'm the one wearing the silly hat. And I'm known as LinkedIn Inspiration. So we're going to pump through it. First things first, we're going to go through the profile from top to toe in 7 minutes. It's the fastest I've ever done it. See if you can keep up. Here we go. Banner, mission statement. More important than anything else, I recommend using an abstract picture rather than anything that refers to anything you do. It's the mission statement, which, by the way, should start about just below, a third over to the right, because of the way it gets compressed. Remember, 90% of your audience are going to be using a mobile phone. So if they're using a mobile phone, it can compress from the left. So you want to make sure that mission statement grabs the attention. Mission statements, very important. Doing X to help Y achieve Z is the best way of putting one together. The reason why you put it there is it kind of grabs the attention. The problem with the banner is it's effectively a dotty image. So the only time it has any effect on you is when you're bloody looking at it. Whereas the rest of the stuff that's in your profile can be searched upon or has an effect by SEO. So therefore, you know, what you need to do is reflect some of that in the headline. The headline is this bit here. And you notice what I do is the first 8-9 words of it is something that grab your attention, hopefully for the right reasons. In my case, it says, I'll guarantee to get jaws to drop and light bulbs to switch on. Nothing to do with electricity. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about why that's there. Well, because sometimes, especially when you're using a desktop, it will put a more button in the most inconvenient place, usually after about the 8th or 9th word. So what we want to do is make sure at all times the very sense of what you're trying to promote here gets through that. And what we're trying to say here is not how many degrees you have, or how many letters after your name you've got, or how many places you visited, or what people think of you. What we need to put there is what you can do for me. Before pandemic, there used to be a measure of how long people sat on a profile before they decided to do anything else. It's actually a hangover from this very self-named thing from the website world, which is called dwell time. The amount of time you sit on a profile before you flick to the left or flick to the right. You know, it's this Tinder thing, you know, swipe left, swipe right. You do it all the time on these things. And the average time of pre-pandemic was about 13 to 14 seconds. Now it's less than 3. So there's no time to leave breadcrumbs. We don't need a dot-to-dot thing. We need people to immediately know what the hell you can do to help them. So make it absolutely plain. Remember, this is the first part of your LinkedIn profile that can be searched for. Right now, you notice what I've done there is in between vertical lines. It doesn't have to be vertical lines. It could be emoticons. It could be all sorts of things. I loathe emoticons, but other people love them. So whatever. As long as you've got a space either side, that will do. But in between them, these are search phrases. You're using them as effectively search term delimiters, if that makes sense. Cool. Now, the other thing that I need to make notice of, the first point that you may have noticed when you first hit the page, which is the video that sits behind my picture, right? You only get that facility in creator mode. So I'm going to jump now to how you switch it on. Resources is the section you need to look through. Only please edit this on a desktop. Don't try and do it on a mobile phone. It gets awfully confusing. So on a desktop, go through the resources. You'll notice it says creator mode off. If you creator mode on, the next thing it'll ask you is what hashtags can a vibe with you. Not that important, quite useful. Pick ones which are vaguely relevant. I think up to 5, I think it gives you there. You can edit them later on. I don't bother putting any, but you could put some. It's up to you. It's more important the contents you have here and in your about section from the point of SEO, because that's going to be the thing that really defines whether people find you or not. Okay, now the first thing you get is a wonderful facility called website. Most people ignore it. Can you see what it says tips and tricks here? That's that link. So I'm going to show you how to get to it. So let's see, are you okay? How do you pronounce it? Volody? Yeah, do you want to sneeze or something? You look like you are on the verge of a sneeze. All right, never mind. Okay, so if you edit the profile, slide all the way down to the bottom. Can you see where it says website? Yeah, don't put a website in there. Don't do it. Instead, put a link to something where people can do something now. And when I'm saying now, like, can I book a meeting with you? I do something even more outlandish. I actually jump to a Google form. And the reason why is I want to collect a bit of information first before I offer you the ability to book some time with me. But I also deliver a payload. So I give them the ability to grab a PDF. Let me demonstrate that. If I click on here, can you all see it's come up super secret LinkedIn. Right. So what it's done here, so I'm gathering information, aren't I? Give business intelligence, stuff that I can go back to them later on and say, oh, you grabbed my super secret LinkedIn tips. Do you fancy X, Y, and Z? Have you heard about this? It's all this. Remember, knowledge is power. But here is where the payloads are. So the first payload, 30-minute look at your profile, that goes to a Calendly. Second one is the super secret tips themselves, which, by the way, look a little bit like this. You can see them. If you want them, you know where to go. Now, they're very good, actually. Well, I would say that. Now, if you can see where it says that, all these do is it jumps through to parts of my Google Drive where these things exist. Or in this case, so straight to my Calendly. I'll show you what happens. Boom, shakalak. There you go. You see, you're ready to book. What people want to do when they see that is do something. Don't just get them to go to your website. It's very boring. They go there and they go, Coronation Street. So, you know, they go and do something else. Next thing, so the first feature I'm going to talk about is the video behind here. When you click on it, you'll be able to see view or edit profile photo or view profile video if you've recorded it. Now, perversely, the only way of getting that video up there is by recording it locally or using your thumb on your actual phone and then uploading it from the phone. Very odd, but it does do that. I recommend recording it locally using Zoom. That way you can get it right. It's only 30 seconds long, but the first 7 seconds of which are muted. So here's a little thought. 5 seconds in, do something outlandish. Look like you're having a seizure. Throw something over the top of your head. Whatever it is to get people to click on the damn photo, because that's the only time they're going to be able to see the video. Okay, where am I, Brian? Okay, so remember, 5 seconds in, do something stupid, just to get them to click on the damn thing. Next thing, can you see this speaker here? Yes? Well, if anybody wants to, and they're really bored, go to my profile and then click on the speaker. 10 seconds worth, originally designed for describing how best to pronounce your surname. If pronouncing your surname is the summit of your problems, I suggest you've got bigger fish to fry. Instead, let's use it as a 10-second marketing spiff, something that makes them go, ooh. Not everybody will click on it. Very few people will, but you want them when they do to go, ooh. That I patented that sound, by the way. Now, next thing, in the featured section. Now, the wonderful, wonderful thing in the featured section that is different when you are in creator mode is you can control which bits go where. So you can pin specific things to it. So, for instance, my band has got, yes, I do have a band, I know, has just got a new album, which is called Red. And I've pinned it there, you see, because I want people to look at it. And also, I've pinned this amazing post. Check out this post. It's about workplace bullying, but it is, if you look through it, the ideal way to write a post. Seriously, it's broken down into sections. I'll talk you through it at a different time. So, and the final thing to talk about briefly, which is not about creator mode, but it's something I want everybody to know about, is something called Unicode text. Has anybody heard of Unicode text? Woo, woo, Unicode text, right, okay. So the character set that we use on the keyboards to do with computers, very boring this bit, everybody get their pillows out, right? It's called ASCII, American Standard Character Set. So, but it gives you no actual control, no typographical control in sections like the About section and so on, or here. But what happens if you want typographical control? You want somehow to embolden or make things stand out. Well, Unicode text will allow you to do that. The downside of Unicode text, I think if you hunt for a Unicode text converter or something on Google, I'll find one later and send it and give it to you. The downside is it's each single character on Unicode is 2 characters on ASCII, and you can't search for it. So it's not like normal text. But where it's really good is for emboldening. Like, for instance, here, you see that? That's Unicode text. And can you see where it says that, you see that's italic there? That's Unicode text. So I don't care if anybody searches for that or not. I just want them to take notice of it, right? Cool. Now, how much time do I have left? Do I have 2 minutes left? Richard?
Yeah, you have 2 minutes left.
Perfect. Marvelous. Right. Okay, so I want to talk. I'm going to be giving masterclasses once a month, which is 1 hour, and we're charging the princely sum of 97 quid for it. Now, but for members who are working with me, I'll give it away for nothing. I'm going to show you those 3 slides to do with the creation of the ideal post. Oh, yes. I hope you enjoy this. It'll be very quick. It's from midway through one of them. So I want to brainstorm a headline. Now, what do I call a headline? I don't mean the bit that's just underneath in your profile. I'm talking about when you put a post together and we break down what that post is. The first 2 lines, let's call it the headline and the subhead or subtitle. Yes. So the headline is going to be the first bit. Now, a headline should be something really clickbaity to grab their attention. And not unlike clickbait, which doesn't never resolve to anything beneficial, it's going to be something that promises something which you will deliver. So are you the worst at? Are you the best at any of these things to make people grab their attention? But the subheading finishes off that headline with a sentence or 2 that completely satisfies the reader's need to know. I'm reading from the screen. You can read that. Right. What I mean is the second line ameliorates the first. Otherwise, if the first line is shocking and dramatic, the second line softens it a little bit and makes them feel, I get it now, right? Because that's going to make, because remember, a lot of the time when you bring up a post, I don't know if you've ever seen it, LinkedIn has that delightful habit of putting the word click here to read more or something similar. So remember, humans work by the LEP, which is the least effort principle. They'll do as little as possible to get away with as much as possible. I think you'll probably find out all the way through your own adult life as well. So we want them to smack that more button, don't we? Right. To get them to smack that more button, we've got to portend great bountiful goodness, and the only way of doing that is by making sure that first and second lines engaging in the way I mentioned. Yeah. And if you then describe the challenge, that what I mean by that is my post is all about how to deal with X, Y, and Z. So let's describe what's gripping about that. So almost from the everyman point of view, is this you? Have you found this? And any of that kind of stuff. And you're going to do, and what you're going to do is you're going to put it out there so they'll recognize it, and they absolutely want to know what you're going to do next to solve it. Right? When I do the masterclass, I go into much more detail, but I'm giving you a flavor of it. They describe the solution, which is the payoff. So they're going, all right, cool. I now believe that this person who's put this post up knows some iota about what they're talking about, and perhaps provide them further resource. And then finally, give photos to go with all your posts. Sorry, give photos to go with each of the posts. And now is AQA, which is you're going to ask me questions. Ha ha! Oh, you found that useful. So it was a whistle-stop tour, and what I was trying to do is get you to understand that very small changes in your profile can garner real change just by you making use of the creator mode. A lot of people don't use it in its entirety, so try and do that. And also, I just wanted to get an idea of just how to make those posts more enticing and getting people to take notice of them.